Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Brian and Miss Berlin for Breaking Down Security.
Hey, hey, hey.
And Mr. Betcher is out this week. He's got a basketball tournament with his daughters and kids. So, he's traveling around right now and won't be back until, he said, Sunday at like 3:30 a.m. So that's Central Time.
I'm traveling too.
Where are you at?
I'm still on.
Where are you at on Earth?
I'm in Indianapolis.
What?
Well, a little bit north of Indianapolis, actually.
Oh, really? What are you doing there?
I took my kids to a mud festival.
A mud festival. Is that an acronym for something like multi-user domain or?
Nope. It's regular mud.
Regular mud.
I posted pictures. Yeah, I posted pictures. It's just like
what, dirt plus water?
They till up a field. And the fire department opens up like the fire hydrant, and they flood it, and then they have games and stuff.
How far away were you from where you live?
A 3-hour drive.
I could turn on the sprinklers in my front yard for about 25 minutes.
Then you have to deal with replanting your own grass.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And then they have a really nice water park outside here that's really super cheap. So we also go to that.
Oh, yeah. So you go wallow in the mud field and then go play in the water park and wash yourselves off.
No. We wash ourselves off in the hotel bathroom.
Oh, well, I guess that's the way to do it. That'd be way better. So for those of you who listen to the show, it sounds like, we've been here a week, but it's actually been about 2.5 weeks since we've seen one another. And Mr. Betcher's obviously been longer, because we split that Ben Johnson interview up. What did you think of Ben and his interview there?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I think it went really well.
I like the leadership stuff. I actually picked up. Wait! I got the book. While actually we were talking. Seriously, dog. Anyway, so I actually picked up the book that he had mentioned on the show called Mindset: The New Psychology of Success, and I'm listening to the audiobook on that from Dr. Dweck, and it's very interesting. I've seen several parts of my life that I can look back on and go, I was in a fixed mindset. I was not in a growth mindset. I was not trying to learn, which would have been pretty much 9th through 12th grade. One of the reasons that I didn't almost not graduate from high school was because I didn't do my homework and I had a C, D, F average.
I need to talk to your mom.
Well,
I'm dealing with the same issue.
Yes. Don't pattern your kid. Don't tell your kids about me because, I'm all successful and making, fat bank and stuff. My options after high school were, according to my mother, the Army or the Navy. And so I picked the Navy because I didn't have money for college. So that was definitely a growing up thing. So I was really surprised.
My son's going to the Marines next June.
Right on. Yeah, he'll definitely be growing up. Unlike most people, it's like, I can't cut it in college. I got to go home. Yeah, you don't get to go home every weekend when you're in the Navy necessarily. So,
suck it up.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Growth. It tells you how to detect when you're not in a growth mindset, how to work around, the fact you may be in a growth mindset, but you're kind of stuck. So, I'm still learning quite a bit about that. And, so I've picked up Essentialism, which was one of the other books that he had mentioned, and Team of Teams. So I've got some books I got to read and learn about, and it's helping me, towards my PMP certification, which I'm hoping to get in December. And so on top of that, podcast, PMP, conference, local meetup, I'm just very not busy right now. So
yeah, me neither. Yeah. Everything's chill.
Yeah. So sorry for those of you who just heard that on Slack. I had to kill my Slack. My bad. So
hey, there won't be any trains on this podcast because I'm not recording from home.
You're in the Ritz, Indianapolis, or?
Yeah, something like that.
Nice.
But you may hear.
Nice.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. So if you're looking for, some good first books to maybe pick up and understand how you might be feeling the way you feel or thinking the way you might be thinking. Some of the books that was mentioned by Ben on the last week's show would be good. I know Mr. Betcher has mentioned The Goal, and he's also mentioned Thinking Fast and Slow, which are some of the other good ones. So anyway, so what are we going to talk about this week? I thought we might go a little lighter. You've got some stories. I got a story. So why don't you go ahead and start with your story?
Which one? I put two of them on there.
Let's start with the BA story.
Oh, right. Let me reopen it because I don't even know where it went. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So British Airways. Well, this is in pounds, which I don't know how that transfers, but £183 million fine for a data breach, which is huge because that's like under the new GDPR thing, which looks to be like, I don't know, 10, 20 times bigger than the fines previously underneath the data protection.
Yeah. According to the story, £183 million sterling is currently, as of today, July 13th, $230,067,051 and no cents. So that's not awful. I mean, what I like is that it appears that governments have finally figured out that they need to make fines hurt. Used to be like, oh, the FTC is going to charge them $15,000. And it's like, well, that's just rummaging through the CEO's couch looking for loose change,
right.
Or, the CEO's got that in his pocket. He, burns that, or uses that when he hits the bathroom on a regular basis. So it's nice
to spend more on that for like employee lunches every day or.
Right. That's like 2 hours of operating expense for a company, the size of BA or something. So it's nice to see that these fines are actually starting to hurt. My question is, what happens to these fines? Where do they go? What do they do? Are they helping to improve? Are they being used to help developing countries?
I thought it covered that too.
Oh, yeah?
It's divided up between other European data authorities. Mm-hmm. A lot of the money that comes to the ICO goes directly to the Treasury.
Okay.
And then it's up to individuals to claim money from BA.
Huh.
Which, good luck, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if any of that's going to work.
That sounds interesting. It sounds different than the United States, where people put out class action lawsuits for several $100 million.
Same thing. I mean, technically, those would be individuals acting as one, right?
Yeah, and really, in class actions, the only winners are the lawyers. So, with the fat bank. So,
hey, I've gotten some big checks from class action lawsuits.
Really, such as
$5 or something.
I was going to say, I get emails from Amazon and they're like, oh, our price fixing stuff, everybody gets $1.50. And it's like, oh, that's fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, so I understand that, they call, let's see, they said, BA said the information involved names, email addresses, credit card information. They're storing credit card numbers, expiration dates, and CVV codes. Wow. Okay. Maybe you shouldn't store the CVV codes. I'm just thinking. Maybe you shouldn't store the credit card numbers
or either. Any of it.
I don't see a reason to store any of that stuff. I've always been a fan of opt-in on that. If I have to type
I understand they didn't have a whole lot of time to implement GDPR. No, they did. They had a lot of time.
Right.
They had a lot of time to know that that's a bad thing, especially at that big of a company.
Right.
I understand. I mean, it would be a hard thing to change if you already have something implemented, but you would think it would be top of the priority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's some security admin in BA just cussing up a storm because he's like, I told you. That happens.
Yeah. It's interesting because this is several orders of magnitude greater, and they have a graph here showing big, Scottish and English type data breaches before GDPR and after GDPR. So you've got, of course, Equifax, Facebook, Uber. Those data breaches in the UK was £500,000, £400,000. Yahoo had a £250,000 fine. Carphone Warehouse had a $100,000 or pound fine, and then 2019, boom, 183 million. So it's That's orders of magnitude larger. Yeah. So,
and you said though, like earlier we were talking that it didn't really hurt their bottom line to be breached.
Yeah, well, that was British Airways, the Facebook one, which just came out, which we can also discuss. The FTC had negotiated a $5 billion fine for, let me go look that up. Apologies to the listener who emailed us and said he didn't like me typing on the keyboard. So Facebook expects FTC to, or Facebook is going to be fined by the FTC anywhere between $3 to $5 billion as a result of the investigation into its privacy policies, which everyone was like, yay, everybody, real fines, Mark Zuckerberg, Mr. Data is gonna get, but I saw news reports and tweets that said that between when the fine was, when everything was discovered, and now that it's taken them so long to settle on the fine, the market share for Facebook has actually gone up $6 billion. So, even if they end up paying the $5 billion, and assuming they don't appeal any further, they're actually going to set and make $1 billion from this fine and from this privacy breach. So,
I feel that people are just numb. I mean, it's commonplace anymore. Like, oh, yet another data breach. Like, nobody cares anymore.
Do you think that they're ambivalent, or do you think it's, how we're painting companies with regards to fines and fees? Because, Target never went out of business. Home Depot didn't go out of business. It's harder for us to say, well, you're going to suffer reputation damage, or you're going to suffer, massive fines or something. Well, it doesn't appear like they actually, I mean, obviously it would be better if they had $6 billion versus, $1 billion, but still it's billions of dollars. We're looking at massive amounts of money right now. So there's not really a lot of, I don't know, how do you communicate risk to people when there's obviously evidence mounting that those risks are no longer a thing?
But those are for huge companies, I feel. I mean, depending on, a way smaller company, that risk may turn off all of their customers to the point where they do have to close their doors.
That's fair. And I mean, there are companies out there that do get breached, and it's all of a sudden like, well, we can't do anything. I actually do remember a company that just filed for bankruptcy because notifying people of the breach cost them more money than they had. So they ended up having to file for bankruptcy protection. Oof. Yeah. I'll have to find that that story in the show notes. I
guess the risk depends on your financials.
Right.
How large of a company, I'm assuming you are.
Right.
Well, I guess a lot comes into play. Well, we should have somebody on risk to talk about that, because that's interesting.
Well, yeah, we're gonna need to find a lawyer.
Changed over time.
Yeah, my whole question is, I mean, for startups and stuff, I guess that they would suffer the most having reputational damage if they were trying to get additional rounds of funding, and we've been breached, or
right.
You would have to kind of play, the news cycle to get around, we've been breached. Well, we're going to have to wait at least 6 months so people can forget about what's going on, or, they're going to have to negotiate in good faith that, hey, we've done all the necessary things to fix these, and this is not going to be a problem anymore.
Well, and if you're already having problems getting funding. Right. Like, there goes your chances.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Time to rebrand.
Yeah, more often than not, I've actually seen a few companies that that changed their names because the brand was just broken. So we're no longer.
We're just now doing business as.
Right. Yeah, doing business as someone else. New and improved, or same shit, different day, or whatever. So, yeah. All right. So let me see what else. Let me go. Oh, is there anything else from that? Send a shiver down spine. So the information. Yeah, after all, the proposed penalty is 367 times as high as the previous record fine, $500,000 imposed on Facebook after Cambridge Analytica. Nice. I guess that was the one that they got in. The reason it wasn't more at the time was they got it in before the GDPR stuff, which was sneaky on their part because, when they announced it made more sense because if it's after a certain point, they would have been under GDPR.
Okay.
They say, what next? BA has 28 days to appeal, so they can still appeal it and not have to pay the fine. So they're going to continue pushing this kicking this rock down the road, so to speak, and, gain more market share.
Yeah, I also wonder what that process entails.
Filing motions. Oh, sorry, we can't do that because of habeas corpus or whatever. Oh, sorry. This is England.
That's not, yeah.
Yeah, so they got a bunch of, ladies and dudes wearing them white wigs and stuff, barristers or something.
Right.
Yeah. I apologize for our friends in the UK, but yeah, I only know how the courts work there because of movies. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So
and every now and then BBC.
What's that? Oh, on BBC.
And every now and then BBC.
Right. They said there were no fraudulent transactions from the leak, though. David Champion believes a BA data breach probably led to his credit card being used fraudulently. So somebody bought items in Harrods while he was in Malaysia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah. That's a problem. I've had that happen before. It's like, oh, are you in Brazil? No, I'm not right now. Thank you for asking. I'd love to be in Brazil because it's a lovely country, but no, I'm not there right now. My card is. So, yeah. All right. So what was one of the other ones? Oh, yeah. So if you're a Brakesec Slack user, you might want to update your Zoom if you've ever joined us for a book club or anything. I know... You're not using a Mac, though, right? Confirm or deny? If you don't want to tell me what you're using, that's fine.
I am using a Mac. Yeah.
Oh, see, you need to... Yeah, they pushed an update to this, but it was pretty bad. The Wired story that we have in the show notes talks about not only them pushing the patch out, but how they handled the PR nightmare of this thing. Somebody had mentioned that it would have been better off if they had, handled it better. Because initially they said, oh, yeah, we're not going to fully fix the issue. And what it allowed to do was I could send you a link on a website with Zoom, assuming you have Zoom installed. And it would automatically allow you to join a meeting with your webcam on. Because people are able to do that through just a regular URL. So, apparently the way Apple's security features were set up, they, used a workaround instead of the actual way of doing it inside of Apple. So, So
that makes me want to put my little webcam cover back on because I've been super paranoid ever since I took it off.
Yes, put it back on.
I got a privacy screen that's like magnetic that hooks to my screen, and I couldn't have that and the little thing on at the same time.
Why is that?
Took it off because it wouldn't, the privacy screen wouldn't stay. Oh,
it wouldn't stay. Okay, because what I did was I actually had one that was about, I don't know, it was from a vendor, so in this case it rhymes with squalus, and it on my Surface I had a privacy screen too, but there was a little cutout on the privacy screen, and the whole webcam thing would cover the webcam, the IR portion, and the microphone. So I wonder if
I could just take a X-Acto knife or something and modify my privacy screen.
Does it cover the whole screen, including where the webcam is?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
So it has its own little built-in one, but I don't like having a privacy screen on unless I travel.
Right. I agree. I actually cut the screen cover thing up a little bit, so I've got a really small little thing that goes over the top. My thing is, I'm glad we as InfoSec people are kind of vindicated, because my wife is, she's like, oh, you're too paranoid. Why do you have those cover things on your webcam? And I'm like, look, It's very easy for anything, any kind of vulnerabilities using your web app or webcam to just start pumping that up. So showing her the Zoom vulnerability was nice, and I've almost got her convinced to get herself a webcam cover as well.
So. I mean, honestly, not just that. Most of the time, it's my fault.
How is it your fault?
I'll forget, and I'll have it on.
Oh.
And I don't want to be on, especially for work. Like, I'm usually just in my pajamas at home and I look like crap. Like, I don't want to be on the screen.
Yeah. My folks at my office don't like using the webcam for meetings. I tend to do it only because customers sometimes like to see who they're talking to. So they'll, especially some of the ones I'm working with, they'll actually have their webcams on if they're not dialed in. But I have a Logitech webcam and it came with a cover.
Oh, that's fancy.
I'm sorry, theater of the mind, everybody.
It looks like a toilet seat.
It does, now that I look at it. Always remember, put the lid down, kids. Yeah. So, but it's,
now I can't see you.
Well, it completely blocks the light, unlike some webcam covers where it'll just kind of make it blurry or super blurry. So like the Qualys one that I have, you can still kind of see through it, so you can see me moving behind it. So They finally made all the fixes, including one that apparently was a remote code exec. I think they pushed out a fix. There was a previous vulnerability that was disclosed in a bug bounty or something that a third party was asking Zoom to work on. And that affected, I think, both all the OSs, Linux, Mac, and Windows. So there's an RCE that was available and a DOS protection. So if you sent carefully crafted GET requests, I think, to the web server, it would constantly, suggest on the Mac to, bring up the application in that case. So there was a whole mess of things involved with this.
Well, I'm glad you went over it because I knew you said you didn't want to.
I know, right?
But I've been out of the loop, so now I'm caught up on that whole thing.
Yeah, well, it actually got worse because we use Ring Central, which at my place, which is
I've used that places before.
Yeah, it's just a fancy ass wrapper on top of Zoom. So anything that affected Zoom also affected Ring Central. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if your customers are joining your Ring Central and they've installed software, they're now vulnerable. If they're running a Mac, in some cases. So,
I thought Macs were unhackable.
No, that was a kick-started computer that actually didn't make it. So,
surprise.
Yeah. But yeah, if you've got Ring Central or anything else that uses Zoom as as part of the web conferencing suite, you're going to want to look at that too. We actually put in the Slack, somebody had posted some GitHub workarounds on how to disable the web server stuff before the patches actually came out. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's not easy, but you can push that out if you needed to through an update. So yeah, I want to keep it light this week. So we had something about Microsoft Fileless malware campaign. They did a blog post about that. I think I want to wait for Mr. Betcher to come.
We can always wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a MITRE attack, pre-attack techniques. I added this one because I knew you were interested in the MITRE attack stuff. But I'm kind of it's a little odd.
I mean, the one thing I did find not too long ago was somebody actually, I've been looking for a way to do it because I know like you can pull MITRE with JSON or whatever, like as a feed. But my entire life revolves around spreadsheets, it seems.
Right.
So I found somebody that actually flattened the entire MITRE into like a
CSV,
Excel or Google Drive or whatever. Like
okay.
Spreadsheet. So it was actually really super helpful for me.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So they have pre-attack techniques, which it sounds like what they're trying to do is they were trying to shoehorn attack into like the PTES framework, for pen testing, where you do reconnaissance and OSINT first
right.
and do all that. So I don't know how new this is, but there's 174 pre-attack techniques.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Yeah. Some of them are like acquire and or use third-party infrastructure services. So they're talking about... let me see. Detectable to common defenses, explanation hard to differentiate between standard business operations, difficulty for the adversary. They break these things down in these kinds of categories, but I'm not exactly sure how useful this is. Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff that, it's just a lot of preventative measures that I guess you should already be doing.
Yeah, and some of it's not hard, not easy to defend against. So, like, use of these solutions allow an adversary to stage, launch, and execute an attack from infrastructure that is not physically tied back to them and can be rapidly provisioned, modified, and shut down. So, you're on AWS. You've probably used some guy's credit card number from the British Airways hack. You bought a bunch of AWS stuff, and there's nothing tying you to that now because it looks like it came from Bob O'Sullivan over there in Ireland or something. And so these are kind of interesting. I don't know if they're overly generic, but it's definitely something you might want to look at to just get an idea as to how you might work on those in the future. Some of those make sense. Some of them are just like, informationals. It's like, oh yeah, bad guys are going to use AWS, or they're going to use Azure, or they're going to use GCP
right.
as well. So yeah.
It's a good list to make sure you haven't forgotten something.
Yeah. And there's 174 of them. So there's a lot of them. So yeah, it might be good to, discuss. They do talk about command and control and all that. So, all right. Well, I don't have anything else. We can definitely talk about that other stuff later. So, Ms. Berlin, how would people get a hold of you? And actually, let's talk about some of the stuff you've got coming up.
Okay. What day is it?
It is the 13th
it's still
of July. It's 13 July.
It's still July. So I don't have anything until I'm going to DEF CON.
Okay.
Which I'm driving again, and not because I've had knee surgery or anything.
Good Lord.
I want to.
Well, you did have fun times the last year. You
had
were
a lot of fun.
taking video of semis on fire and 115 degree weather and such. So
So we're driving again from Ohio to Vegas.
Same people? Is it Lentile and them?
No, he didn't go last year. One of the same people.
Okay.
But then two additional. So
have they been before?
Yes. Not okay. One of them has not.
You got a noob going with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an intern.
Does he know about the swimming pool on the roof of the hotel?
He'll find out. It'll be fine.
Okay. He needs to go check out that swimming pool. It's really awesome, I hear. So.
Right. So I think I'm speaking at Black Hat. They've told me I am, but it's not on the schedule. It's kind of weird. So hopefully I'm there. If not, I'll definitely be at DEF CON.
Hey, Black Hat organizers, better make that right real quick. Just hint.
Everybody I've talked to has been great, but yeah, I think they're just,
nudge,
I don't imagine organizing a conference that large is easy.
Right. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Not as good as a nudge to a blind bat.
Gosh, and I think Derby's after that.
Yeah, Derby's coming up. I'm going to be there for Python OS hacking.
Our CFP is still open until July 20th for both DerbyCon and 44Con.
Okay.
Megan is actually going to DerbyCon and then directly flying to 44. Like, I'm taking her from Louisville to another airport to fly to 44Con.
My goodness.
And then she's doing that with my luggage.
Wow.
And then flying back and laying over in Detroit so I can just go pick up my luggage.
Oh my God.
And then flying home, and then she has other stuff that she's doing.
That's complicated.
Yes. So we've we have slowly been trying to delegate and find ambassadors to run mental health villages.
Okay.
Because her and I cannot do all of them. There's currently, if anybody actually is in Idaho Falls or are going to go to B-Sides Idaho Falls, we're looking for somebody to run that one. So
B-Sides.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's conferences on same days, and there's just a lot of people interested. I just sent an email to somebody at Walmart that was interested.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of blowing up, and I am running out of free time.
Wait, it's 20 and 21st of September. That's during the week.
Maybe.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. It's Friday and Saturday in September 29th. Okay, cool.
And besides St. Louis, I think, is on that Saturday.
Oh, that's September.
And I already have stuff booked for then. And Megan is tapped out for September.
Oh, my
she's
goodness.
doing like 3 conferences in September already.
Where the hell's Idaho Falls? Apologies to those of you in Idaho Falls. I'm not, up with all of the
I've never been
geography.
to Idaho. I didn't know that people lived in Idaho.
You're killing me. It's in Idaho. Yes, thank you, Captain Obvious. Oh, God.
I mean, you live close enough to there. You could go run it for me, right?
Well, according to the map, it's about this far. It would actually make more sense for me to fly from Seattle to Salt Lake and then drive.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's in the eastern part. So you know how Idaho looks like an L. It's like right here on the L.
Oh, okay.
I'm pointing at my thumb here if it's left. So yeah, it's not like B-Sides Boise, which would be
closer,
a little closer.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, stuff like that. We just had our first ambassador run it at SteelCon.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzie. So that was super exciting.
Oh, that's cool.
And I just need to iron out a better process for that because I have all these things in my head and I know what I expect of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to write it all down.
Sure. Policy, process, procedure. Those are all important things to have so that everybody gets the same experience every time or as near the same experience every time.
Yes.
I'd love to talk about ITIL and, CMMI stuff. Right now you're at
That's a good idea. I should just do a template process, policy process thing. That's a good idea, Brian.
You're like level 1 on the CMMI process. It's like not necessarily repeatable.
Like freaking out is level 1 or?
Freak out, not repeatable. Yeah, not the same every time. If somebody says, oh, I'm going to set this up, it's not exactly the same. So yeah, having a process is important. So, yeah. Whew, man, that's a hell of a drive. Yeah.
So that's my stuff, at least until September.
Cool. Okay. So, yeah. So, I've got DerbyCon. 2 weeks before that is InfoSec Camp Out, which we've got about 25 people coming to right now. All of our speakers have been mentioned. We posted those on InfoSec Camp Out Twitter, which is at InfoSec Camp Out. We actually, we don't have any red team talks.
What?
No red team talks.
So this is a purely defensive security conference.
It is a defense/privacy conference.
Awesome.
Yes. And
I really wish I could go. I'm very sad.
That's okay. So just for those of you who might be interested, we have Brett Shavers, who's going to be talking about mobile device geolocation, how to prove that they were where they say they were when they were. We have Ms. Wendy Knox Everett and another person possibly doing a privacy panel. It's based on a talk that they gave at a SkyCon talk, something like that. The one in Vegas that isn't recorded and it's up in a suite somewhere. Okay, Sky Talks. Yeah, we have a lady who is a Red Cross ham radio communications instructor. So she's going to talk about disaster recovery stuff. So like how to do go bags and how you can communicate over ham radios and do emergency comms, which is something very interesting. Adam Baldwin, who we've had on the show here, he's the VP of security for Node.js. He's going to talk about some of the things that have been going on recently, security initiatives and whatnot. And we have an MDM talk. So we have Nico Smith, who set up MDM in his environment to help protect his children with mobile devices, and he's talking about some of the pitfalls and some of the technologies he used to implement MDM. So we also have a nice keynote from one of our local people, Bar Lockwood. She's going to put out a keynote. I don't know what that is yet, but so we only have about 5 hours and we have roughly 5 talks. And we still need workshops, and we've got some stuff going on. CSEC East, if you're local to Seattle, we're going to have a meetup in Carnation pre-conference, so like the Friday night before, so we can do that. So if you're interested, infoseccampout.com, there's an Eventbrite link, social contract. I'll try to post the speaking list and schedule there. My only worry, and I don't know if people who organize conferences have this same issue, but I worry about filling time. So like the conference doesn't start until 3:00, but people who are camping or people who want to show up early and like hang out, there's about from say 9 to 10 o'clock to about 3:00 where it's kind of in flux. I mean, we got, resume review and stuff. Miss Berlin, you've done villages and which are kind of conferences. How do you worry about filling time?
No.
No?
No.
Well, okay, what invariably happens? Because my thing is that I'm actually feeling anxiety right now because of this. I've got a little tightness in my chest. What happens if it sucks and they're like just sitting around and they're bored to tears, and that's feedback they give me? It's like, oh, we really wish we had more shit to do, and
that's what camping is, though. Really, I mean, you kind of just sit around and chill.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
like it's not bad to build in downtime.
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, I think we're kind of an outlier because our entire purpose of having the village is just to be chill.
Well, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So not having anything to do, kind of the point.
Right. Yeah. But at least with your conferences, people can just sit there and maybe, surf the web or whatever.
Play with stuff. Like, I mean, we have like the toys and the coloring and all that kind of stuff. So, right. I mean, if you have any like passive activity, like maybe not a full CTF, but you could like get people together and do some of the online CTFs.
Oh, that's a good thought. Okay.
Just like we do with the clubs and stuff.
Right.
Like you could have in-person book club. You could have in-person CTF club.
In-person book club. That would be great. Oh, are you sure you don't want to organize this thing? I mean, you don't have enough to do already, so
no.
I mean, you're just lazy sitting there on your hotel bed. I mean, you've got some spare cycles.
You're right.
Whew, Lord. Yeah, no, seriously, I'm not saying it's been a lot of sleepless nights, but I have been hitting the weed chalk a little more normal. So my whole thing is I just don't want it to suck. And, I've never done this before, and I was inspired by the Dave Kennedy's.
Running conferences isn't fun.
Well, yeah, I know at some point we're going to have issues and there's going to be people who are unhappy. I'm
going to picket it next year.
Oh, yeah?
Like out with a sign, something about, I don't know, I'll make up something, I'm sure.
Yeah. But there's a lot of little piddly things. And they're not piddly, but they're just the minutia of the whole thing. Yeah. It's like, I've got to have speaker gifts, and I've got to, we're not taking speakers from all over the world. So if you fly in, don't expect, that's why all of our people are local, or they're camping with us. So pretty much they get campsite for free, for instance. Mm-hmm. So, but we still have some people there. We still have some slots available to go camping with us if you want to. We have some tent spots available. We're still looking for sponsors. So we're not trying to do this on the cheap, but I don't mind paying out of pocket a little bit. But if you are a company that's looking for potential, money spending, $5,000 is a lot cheaper than you think than a table at Black Hat or DEF CON, and you'll be helping a nice local conference. So that's our platinum one. That'll be like, oh, you can come on the show, and we'll name the barn after you, and that's like the top shelf. If you go above 5,000, I'll be like, you're stupid. Don't give us money. Oh wait, no, probably shouldn't
give all the extra stuff to me.
Right? Yeah, we'll funnel it to an offshore account. I mean, we'll funnel it to but it's all tax deductible. So if you're interested, infosecampout.com, hit up at infosecampout on Twitter. Podcast here. Let's end this up. Podcast at Brakesec on Twitter. Mr. Betcher, you can find him at log-md.com, where he creates an application to help you get better and help you find where you're deficient in logging. And it also has some forensic tooling in there. You can also join our Slack by sending us a DM to Brakesec or sending us an email at bds.podcast@gmail.com. Miss Berlin, how would people find out about everything you're involved with?
Well, I've not been on Twitter a whole lot lately.
Well, who runs the Hackers Health Twitter handle?
Both Megan and I.
Okay.
Both Megan and I. Right. Yeah. So at Hackers Health is our mental health hackers one.
Right.
We do have a T-shirt campaign going on right now that you can actually, if you are the winning donation, get a DerbyCon ticket.
Nice.
Yeah. It is our last one to give away.
Very cool.
That one's going on. You don't have to get a T-shirt if you don't want to. You could just give us a bunch of money, and then you could win a T-shirt, win a DerbyCon ticket.
Oh.
Or I'll be in Slack.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I'm sorry. So this time last year I was at B-Side Springfield, Missouri, which is going on this weekend. Seems to be kicking ass and taking names. So it's a second or third. And one of our moderators, JB, who works for Fortune 1 down there in Bentonville, Arkansas, tweeted out just now. He's like, had an awesome time with West End, but also missed Brian Brake and his mom, because I brought my mom last year because I spoke there. I'll have to think more later about everyone we missed. So, B-Side Springfield, Missouri, if you didn't get to go, that's a nice, awesome, well-run, even on their first and second years here, B-Sides. So, and it's fairly centrally located. It's just a hop from Chicago or Dallas. So next year, if you need a good B-Sides and you live in the Midwest, it's a really awesome place to go. So, and that's where my mama lives. So anyway. All right, so we have a TPub store if you want to buy a T-shirt. If you can't do Patreon, if you don't want to give regular amounts to Patreon, you can buy a shirt. I think we have TPub allows for male cut, female cut, unisex T-shirts. We have coffee mugs. You can get stickers. You can get pretty much anything you want, any kind of accoutrement you want to add to your laptop or to your person. And we get a little kickback when we buy stuff. So you might also see the InfoSec Campout T-shirt logo there soon. What was that? Did you just download a file?
Can you hear that?
Yes, I did. So did everyone else. It's global. Sorry. That's okay.
Well, I have my headphones in. I don't know why you can hear things happening in my other tabs.
Well, it's the same thing with the Slack. So you're hearing notifications. So anyway, all right. Well, that was it for Breaking Down Security. Ms. Berlin, thank you for joining me. And next week, I'm sure you'll be at home.
Yeah.
You'll be back home? Okay. And Mr. Betcher will be back, and we'll have some good times and talk some more InfoSec. So, from the world headquarters here, that was it. Have a great week. Be nice to one another. Don't follow InfoSec Drama on Twitter. Take care of yourself, because you're only you have, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye-bye.